The holder of this title, John Gladwin, is unfortunately injured at the moment. He would have been a leading candidate for a place over 1,500 metres, certainly, for our Olympic team. But John's been very unwell and also had injuries, and we wish him well and hope we see him back on the track soon. But in his absence, his title is most likely, I suppose, to go to this man, Steve Crabb, another with 1,500 metre ambitions, with Seoul in mind later this year, the 24-year-old from Enfield. Well, here's the full lineup then. In lane 1, Kevin McCabe from Sale Harriers. He's just 19 and has twice been 3A's junior champion. In lane 2, number 28, Paul Herbert, 21-year-old, who finished second in this event a year ago. Here's Steve Hurd, Wolverhampton and Bilston, winner of the 400 metres gold medal last year. Steve Crabb runs in lane 4, wearing number 11, the 3A's 1,500 metres champion. Lane 5, number 54, from Longwood, Martin Steele, third a year ago. He's the Northern champion. Paul Burgess is just 17, number 9 there in lane 6. Chris McGeorge in lane 7, John Griffiths in lane 8. Men's 800 metres, 2 laps of the track. Steve Crabb, who went to Rome in the World Championships, but unfortunately went out in the semi-final and failed to really run up to expectations, is the form horse, so to speak. But watch out also for number 27, Steve Hurd, the Wolverhampton-based athlete who's won all 3 of his races over this distance this year, setting personal best each time. It's Crabb out in front. Paul Herbert, number 28, and a very fast opening 200 metres, 24.8 seconds. 54 there is Martin Steele in second place, as Crabb leads them through a very hot opening lap, Steve, there.
Well, he means business, Alan, but that's sort of first 200 metres, that's at world record pace, really. And he doesn't look as if he's going to ease off at all going into the bell. 51.7, that's great running in these conditions and this early in the season.
So, Steve Crabb works for the gas board, incidentally. Really turning it on here in his first big track appearance of the season. Martin Steele is clear in second place, and Paul Herbert, the 21-year-old, will improve his times by 4 seconds in 1987, is clear in third place. There he is, number 28. Moving through is Kevin McKay into fourth. Steve Hurd not figuring at all, as Steve Crabb stretches away from the others in what's been a very impressive track debut. Paul Herbert is fast finishing, so watch for him, number 28 there. And he has a very strong and determined look about him as well. And Crabb isn't going to have it his own way over the final 50 metres. As Herbert comes up to his shoulder, a terrific finish. Crabb is tying, and Herbert has timed it perfectly. And Paul Herbert wins it. Crabb is second. Steve Hurd really came through from the pack to take third. 1 minute, 45.65. And what a performance by the 21-year-old Paul Herbert. Well, I must say, his look of that final bend was one of great confidence, and a man who had something left. You have to almost feel sorry for Steve Crabb, who sacrificed himself over that opening lap. And, well, Steve, what a finish by Paul Herbert here.
It was great, really, but I think if you look at Steve Crabb and think that he's a 1,500 metre man, he used his only real strength in this race against fast finishers, which is to get up there and really whack it hard. But, I mean, the time of both these guys have clocked, which must be in, what, 1:45s for both of them, I should imagine. It's a great performance at this time of the year, and I think they'll both be very happy with that.
Paul Herbert then wins the 800 metres title, following John Gladwin from a year ago, and he's a man who's going to figure in the countdown for Olympic places to Seoul throughout this season. What a... Welcome back to the Mountbatten Stadium in Portsmouth, just as Seb Coe is introduced to the crowd in this Pearl Assurance International, Great Britain and Northern Ireland against the Soviet Union and France. Always fantastic interest, of course, when Seb Coe makes what are increasingly becoming now his rare appearances on the track. It's a long, long time since British crowds have seen him in action, outdoors anyway. He did appear in the indoor season in Cosford, where he suffered a surprise defeat against Adrian Passy. But now he prepares to run in this 800 metres. And a lot of question marks, I suppose you have to say, mainly because we haven't seen very much of Seb. Meanwhile, some of his big rivals have been running, and running impressively. Johnny Gray, that consistent performer from the United States with the best time in the world so far this year, 1:43.70. Chisire of Kenya, Druppers of Holland, and our own Peter Elliott. Seb Coe, Olympic silver medalist, over 800 metres in 1980. The race, of course, won by Steve Ovett. European champion in Stuttgart. Olympic gold medalist in 1980 and 1984 over 1,500 metres. World record holder. Winner of the United Kingdom title as long as 10 years ago. Britain's most prolific record breaker. But in this Olympic season, in which the first two past the post method of selection in the trials has caused a great deal of controversy, and Seb Coe has been one of the most voluble in speaking out against it. There's a great deal of interest in how he performs here today. The rest of the field, number 3, Starov Dubtsev of the Soviet Union. Guillemard is the black Frenchman there, wearing number 5. Paul Herbert, the 21-year-old who won the United Kingdom title in his finest ever run. Sudnik of the Soviet Union. Lavie of France. 6 men. But really, with due respect to the others, the main interest is in the performance of Seb Coe. He won the Middlesex title 5 weeks ago, and he's had a few injury problems since then.
Well, I think the main factor in this race is it looks as it's going to be terribly start the bell here. And, we're going to see who's got the fastest kick over 400 metres. I'm not sure whether Paul Herbert's got that sort of pace, or whether Sudnik, the Russian, has got a bit of a sprint. But we know that Seb is very powerful over the last 300 metres, and I think that's the style of this race anyway.
Sudnik just moving through into 3rd place there, number 4. A lot of potential. He's just 20. But this man has a lot of potential as well. The 21-year-old Paul Herbert. And he's come to the shoulder of Coe and challenged him. Can Coe put the problems behind him? He's getting the finishing test here. He must have feared, or perhaps broken. The other Frenchman, Guillemard, is in 3rd, but it's Coe who stretches away. Perhaps not the silky smooth acceleration of old, but good enough. Coe wins it. Herbert 2nd. Guillemard was 3rd. The winning time, 1:48.63. And Seb Coe, more importantly than anything else, won.
Well, a touch of the old master there, I think, Adam. We saw him dominating the race virtually as he wished. I think that Paul tried to sort of put the effort in around the top end there, but Seb held him out, made him run wide, and I think that extra 2 or 3 yards of having to run wide, having to sort of struggle around that top end, made all the difference coming down the straight. As you said, I don't think Seb is at his best at the moment, but there again, it's a 51.9 last lap, and I think that indicates that he's still got the basic speed there. But I think, as we saw, there's a lot of room for improvement. But what this is, he's 2nd 800 metres this year, and I think that at this time of the year, it still leaves room for improvement. But great performance there.
31 now, Seb Coe, and obviously his life has changed considerably. He's very involved in sports council work and has business interests. Really a man with a great future, I'm sure, when he does finally decide to leave the athletics tracks of the world behind him, but desperate to go out on a high note in the Olympics in Seoul. Seb Coe, the winner then.